A memoir is not what happens, but the person to whom things happen. Characteristics of a memoir. It's a memory. It's a description of a time in the past. Usually, it covers a brief period or one point in the life of the author. It has meaning. It shows what the author learned from the experience. It should contain reflection on the lessons being learned as the author recalls the events. It may read like a novel or a short story with elements of narrative structure, like setting, conflict, characterization, symbolism, plot, and imagery. It's usually written in the first person. It's told from one person's point of view. Point of view is important. It's about truth, but only from the author's perspective. It reveals the feelings of the author. A memoir is more than just a story. While memoirs tell stories about one's own life, there are occasions in which the writer reflects on her life, tries to make sense of it in the present. To this extent, memoirs are also like an essay. They attempt to make a point. So, to use a Venn diagram, story has character, plots, dialogue. And an essay makes a point. It discusses an issue. A memoir has both. The memoir sits in two time settings. The events take place in the past, but the reflection on those events take place at the time of the writing. Reflection should begin and end the narration, but there's also room anywhere within the memoir to think about what happened. Philip Lapate says, in writing memoir, the trick, it seems to me, is to establish a double perspective. The first allows the reader to participate vicariously in the experience as it was lived, while the second conveys the sophisticated wisdom of one's current self. The second perspective, the author uses a more mature intelligence to interpret the past, and the heart of the matter often shines through those passages where the writer analyzes the meaning of his or her experience. In writing memoir, we select moments that reveal our own experiences of our lives. In other words, write about a time in your life that was personally significant. The climax of the story is typically an important moment, a moment that helped define who you are, a moment when you gained understanding about how the real world works, a moment when you learned something crucial about life from a person close to you, a moment when you became aware of something in the adult world, a moment when someone helped you take that next step to grow up just a little. These are the understandings brought out in the reflection. At the time of the story, in the rush of the events, they weren't clearly understood. Philip Lapate says, if you're telling a story now about something that happened to you years ago, you can see and understand things about the situation that you didn't at the time. That's reflection. This is why it's generally best to write about something that happened to you at least a year ago. 2 or more is even better. If you haven't had that time to reflect on the experience, then you might not be capable of understanding its significance yet. Some things take time for their meaning to become clear. For example, making your memoir about the nice girl you just met in your Comp 1 class doesn't make much sense because you probably don't know her very well yet, and the long-range significance of your encounter is unclear. However, telling the story of the first girl who was nice to you when you moved to a new school in the 5th grade, a girl who became your best friend through middle and high school, would be a great choice for a memoir with lots of memories and significance to choose from. Way Off, a biography or some other story. It's about someone else. It's about your family or friends. It's set in the present. Close, an autobiography. It's about you, but it's not personal. It's just a series of events. It takes place entirely in the past. It describes the events at the time, but without reflection. On Target, a memoir. It's about you. It's personal. It takes place both in the past and in the present. It tells about the events at the time, but also about how you feel about it now. The minimum is 2 full pages, double-spaced. Do not place blank lines between the paragraphs. The maximum is 6 pages. There is a lot more information out there for students and teachers to ponder.